All right, so today we're diving into something a little unexpected.
Oh.
Yeah, 18 Buddhist lessons for gaining respect.
Okay.
Now, before you think we've, completely wandered into a monastery or something, stick with us.
Okay.
We're not talking robes and chanting,
Got that.
but rather how these principles can translate into real-world wisdom,
Interesting.
almost like a cheat sheet for better relationships and interactions.
I like that.
Yeah.
So what's really fascinating here is how these lessons, often seen through that kind of spiritual lens, right?
Right.
They actually offer these like practical insights into human psychology. It's about, understanding what makes people tick.
Yeah.
And in turn earning their respect.
Okay.
Not through demands or, forcing it,
Right.
but by embodying certain qualities.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's unpack this a little bit.
Sure.
First up, we've got mindfulness and compassion.
Okay.
A pairing we hear a lot these days.
Yeah, for sure.
But how does this translate to earning respect?
Well, think about it.
Okay.
Someone who is truly mindful, present in the moment,
Yeah,
they're also a better listener.
that's true.
They're not just waiting to interject, with their own thoughts.
Right.
But they're actually absorbing what you're saying.
Yeah,
That in itself builds a sense of respect, wouldn't you say?
absolutely. It's like that feeling when you know someone is truly hearing you,
Yes,
not just waiting for their turn to speak.
exactly.
Yeah.
And from that mindfulness, the ability to understand your own emotions
Right.
and reactions
Okay.
blossoms compassion.
Interesting.
You become more attuned to the struggles of others.
Yeah, less quick to judge.
Less judgmental.
Right, and that kind of empathy, it's incredibly powerful
Yeah.
and often deeply respected.
It's like radiating this sense of understanding and acceptance,
Yes.
which can be really disarming,
for sure.
especially in today's world.
Especially today, yeah.
Yeah. So from this foundation of self-awareness and compassion,
Okay.
we move into a concept that can be a bit tricky.
Right.
Impermanence.
Yeah, okay.
And this isn't about doom and gloom,
Right.
but rather an acceptance that everything changes.
Okay, so how does that tie into respect? It seems almost counterintuitive.
It's about letting go
Okay.
of rigid expectations
All right.
and attachments.
Got it.
Think about someone who's constantly clinging
Yeah.
to a certain outcome,
Yeah.
or to being right,
Yeah.
or to things staying exactly as they are.
Yeah.
That rigidity can actually create tension
Okay.
and conflict.
For sure.
And that hinders respect.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So by accepting impermanence,
Yes,
you're actually becoming more adaptable,
that's it.
more open to different viewpoints.
Exactly. And this ties into non-attachment,
Okay.
which isn't about being aloof or unemotional.
Right.
It's about not letting your sense of self get so tangled up
Mm-hmm.
in outcomes you can't control. It's a quiet confidence
Yeah.
that's often admired.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Like you're not desperately seeking that external validation.
Yes.
Because you have this solid inner compass.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And speaking of skillful action,
Okay.
let's talk about right speech.
Right.
You might think, oh, just be polite.
Right.
But it goes much deeper than that.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Right. Speech is about choosing your words carefully,
Mhm.
understanding their weight and impact.
Yeah.
It's about being truthful,
Forgive.
but also kind. It's knowing when to speak up, when
Yeah.
to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And even when silence is the most powerful statement.
That's so true. I've definitely been in situations where someone's quiet presence,
Yes.
their ability to just truly listen, spoke volumes about their character.
Absolutely. And often that thoughtful silence
Yeah.
earns more respect
Right.
than a string of empty words.
Yeah,
for
sure.
Now pair that with patience. Not just waiting your turn,
Right.
but the ability to stay calm and composed
Yeah.
even under pressure.
It's a tough one,
It is,
especially in our fast-paced world.
for sure.
But I can see how it projects this aura of strength
Yes.
and competence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about a leader who doesn't fly off the handle at
Yeah.
the first sign of trouble.
Yeah.
That composure inspires confidence
Right.
and trust,
Yeah.
essential elements of respect.
So we've got mindfulness leading to compassion, the understanding of impermanence allowing for non-attachment,
Yes.
and right speech paired with patience.
Right.
Okay.
And from this foundation of skillful action,
Right.
we move into the realm of gratitude
Okay.
and self-reflection.
Now this is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
You might think, wait, What does being thankful have to do with respect?
Right.
I'm all ears.
It's all about perception.
Okay.
Someone who practices gratitude
Yeah.
isn't focused on what they lack.
Right. But rather what they have, this shift in perspective leads to a more positive outlook.
Right.
Which can be incredibly infectious.
People are drawn to that kind of energy.
Yes.
It's uplifting.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And when you pair that with self-reflection,
Okay.
honestly looking at your strengths and weaknesses, you begin to make choices from a more grounded place.
Okay.
Less ego-driven.
So you're not as swayed by those external pressures or the need for constant approval.
Yeah, you have a strong sense of self.
Exactly.
And that authenticity shines through.
Yeah.
People respect that.
This is already making me rethink how I approach, like, my own interactions.
I love it.
I'm ready to hear more about these unexpected lessons for earning respect.
Yeah.
What comes next?
Welcome back. I hope you've had a moment to ponder, what we discussed.
Yeah.
It's not just about knowing these lessons right.
Right.
It's about how they actually play out in everyday life.
Oh.
It's amazing how these seemingly Buddhist concepts
Right.
are actually relevant whether you're religious or not.
Yeah.
It's like they tap into something universal about human nature.
Absolutely. And building on that foundation of gratitude
Okay.
and self-awareness,
Yeah.
we arrive at a pair that's often undervalued in today's world:
Okay.
humility and right livelihood.
Okay. Humility.
Yeah.
I get how it's a positive trait.
Right.
But how does it translate to gaining respect?
Think about someone who's constantly boasting,
Okay.
needs to be the center of attention,
Yeah.
taking credit for everything.
Right.
It can be exhausting to be around, right?
Totally. It's like they're sucking all the air out of the room.
Humility, on the other hand, is
Ah.
a quiet strength. It's about acknowledging your limitations,
Right.
being open to learning from others.
Yeah.
This doesn't mean being a doormat,
Okay.
but rather having the confidence to not need to be right all the time.
That's a subtle distinction,
It is.
but important.
Yeah.
I bet those are the people we end up respecting the most. The ones who are lifelong learners.
Yes, and that ties into right livelihood.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
isn't just about finding a job that pays the bills,
Right.
but work that aligns with your values,
Okay.
that contributes something positive
Yeah.
to the world.
So it's that sense of purpose.
Yes.
Of knowing you're not just clocking in and out,
Right.
but actually making a difference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that passion, that commitment to something larger than yourself,
Right.
commands respect.
Okay.
People notice when someone's work is an extension of their values,
Yeah.
not just a means to an end.
It's like they're living their truth,
Yes.
which can be incredibly inspiring to witness.
Now, from this grounded sense of self
Right.
and purpose,
Okay.
we move into territory that can be challenging,
Sure.
even uncomfortable.
Okay.
Forgiveness and contentment.
Forgiveness, especially when someone's really wronged,
Yeah.
you can feel almost impossible. How does that even begin to tie into respect?
It's not about condoning bad behavior,
Okay.
but rather about freeing yourself
Okay.
from the grip of resentment. Think about it holding on to anger,
Yeah.
playing the victim.
Yes.
It consumes so much energy.
It does. It's a burden you carry.
It's like you're letting that person live rent-free in your head,
Exactly.
even if they're long gone.
And the person who can forgive,
Right.
who can let go of that bitterness,
Yeah.
radiates a certain strength.
Okay.
Doesn't mean they're weak or forget what happened,
Right.
but they've chosen not to be defined by it.
There's a wisdom in that.
Yes.
A recognition that holding on to anger ultimately hurts you more than anyone else.
And that ability to choose peace
Yeah.
over prolonged suffering often garners deep respect.
I see that.
It takes courage to forgive.
It does.
And this pairs beautifully with contentment.
Okay. So not settling for less, but being satisfied with what you have where you are right now.
Exactly.
It's about appreciating the good,
Yeah.
even amidst challenges.
Okay.
Now imagine someone who can forgive past hurts and find joy in the present moment.
Right.
They're not constantly chasing the next big thing,
Okay.
comparing themselves to others.
That's incredibly attractive.
It is.
It's like they've unlocked some secret to happiness that the rest of us are still searching for.
And that inner peace is magnetic.
Yeah.
It inspires trust
Right.
and admiration,
Okay.
essential components of respect.
So we've moved from skillful action
Yes.
to cultivating a powerful internal state.
Right.
What comes next in this journey towards earning respect?
Now we take those inner qualities and we begin to express them outwardly
Okay.
through generosity and equanimity.
Generosity seems pretty straightforward.
Right.
But equanimity,
Yeah.
that's a word I don't hear every day.
I know.
Break it down for me.
Think of it as evenness of mind.
Okay.
That steady composure, even when life throws curveballs. Imagine someone who can stay calm amidst chaos,
Yeah.
who doesn't let setbacks completely derail them.
That's a quality I admire in leaders.
Yeah.
That ability to stay grounded when everything around them is going crazy.
And when you pair that with generosity,
Yeah.
not just with material things, but with your time, your energy, your spirit,
Yeah.
it's a powerful combination.
Right.
You're giving freely without getting swept up in the drama.
It's like you're operating from a place of abundance.
Yes.
Both internally and externally. There's a certain freedom in that.
Exactly. And that lack of neediness, of constantly seeking something from others,
Right.
is often deeply respected.
This is blowing my mind.
I'm glad.
So we've moved from self-awareness to skillful action, cultivated internal strength,
Right.
and now we're expressing it outwardly.
Yes.
What's the final piece of the puzzle?
This brings us to a pair
Okay.
that underpins everything we've discussed.
All right.
Inner peace and mindful consumption.
Okay, inner peace.
Yeah.
That sounds lovely,
It is.
but also a bit esoteric.
Right?
How do we actually cultivate that
Yeah.
in a world that's constantly demanding our attention?
It's not about escaping reality or pretending everything is rosy.
Okay.
It's about developing the ability to find stillness within yourself,
Right.
even amidst the chaos.
I like that.
And this comes through practice,
Okay.
meditation, mindfulness, whatever works for you.
So it's about building that internal muscle.
Yeah.
So you're not constantly reacting to every external stimulus.
Exactly.
Right.
And when you have that inner peace, it radiates outward.
Okay.
You're less likely to get pulled into those petty conflicts.
Yeah.
Less reactive.
Right.
More thoughtful in your responses.
People respect those who aren't easily rattled.
Yes. And then there's mindful consumption.
Okay.
This isn't just about buying eco-friendly products,
Right.
but about being conscious
Yeah.
of what you're taking in,
Okay.
food information, even your own thoughts.
So it's about aligning your actions
Yes.
with your values,
Right.
making choices that are good for you,
Right.
for others,
Yeah.
and for the planet.
Precisely someone who's mindful of their consumption is
Right.
also more likely to be present,
Okay.
less caught up in that endless cycle of wanting and acquiring.
There's a certain integrity in that.
There is.
A quiet power that comes from not being driven by those external pressures.
And that self-awareness,
Yeah.
that alignment of inner and outer worlds
Yeah.
is deeply respected.
I can see that.
It signals a thoughtfulness, a depth of character that's often lacking in our consumer-driven society.
This is really making me rethink my priorities.
I love it.
Okay, so where do we go from here?
Mm-hmm.
How do we tie all these threads together into a cohesive understanding of how to earn respect? Okay, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive
Yes.
into these 18 Buddhist lessons for gaining respect.
Right.
It's been quite a journey,
It has.
from self-awareness to skillful action, to cultivating this powerful internal state
Yeah.
and expressing it outwardly.
Absolutely.
So as we move into these final lessons,
Yes.
I'm curious to see how they kind of weave together
Yeah.
everything we've talked about,
They do.
offering like a roadmap, not just for earning respect, but for living a more fulfilling life.
Exactly.
Okay, so where do we go from here?
This brings us to two fundamental qualities
Okay.
that underpin everything we've discussed.
Right.
Kindness and self-compassion.
Kindness seems pretty straightforward,
Yeah.
but, it's easy to get caught up in our own lives
Right.
and forget to extend that to others.
Yeah.
How does that consistent kindness translate to earning respect?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it feels like the world often rewards those who are more,
Yeah. Yeah.
cutthroat.
It's about recognizing the interconnectedness
Okay.
of all beings. Even small acts of kindness
Yeah.
can have a ripple effect.
Okay.
Create a more positive and harmonious environment. And people are drawn to that.
They are.
It creates trust and a
Yeah.
sense of safety.
Like you're building a community,
Yes.
even if it's just like a momentary connection with a stranger.
Exactly. And those who can consistently extend kindness,
Mm-hmm.
even in challenging situations,
Yeah.
are often seen as strong
Okay.
and grounded.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's easy to be kind when things are going well,
Right.
But it's those who can maintain that generosity of spirit, even when faced with adversity,
Yes.
who truly inspire respect.
Absolutely. And this leads us to self-compassion,
Okay.
which is often misunderstood.
Right.
It's not about self-indulgence or making excuses, but rather treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a friend.
That can be tough,
It can be.
especially with all the pressure to be perfect these days. We're often our own harshest critics.
We are, and that's where self-compassion comes in.
Okay.
It's about acknowledging your imperfections,
Right.
your struggles, and offering yourself support and encouragement rather than judgment.
So it's about recognizing that you're human.
Yes.
You're going to make mistakes.
Right.
And that's okay.
Exactly. And when you can practice self-compassion, it allows you to show up more fully for others.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. You're not as burdened by self-doubt or fear of failure.
There's a freedom in that.
Yes.
A willingness to take risks and be vulnerable, which I think people respect.
Absolutely. And remember, you can't give what you don't have.
That's true.
If you're constantly beating yourself up,
Yeah.
it's harder to extend genuine kindness and compassion to others.
Makes sense. It all comes back to that foundation.
Right?
Self-awareness and acceptance.
Yes.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
what's the key takeaway for our listeners?
Respect isn't something you can demand
Right.
or force.
I
It's a natural byproduct of living in alignment with these 18 Buddhist principles.
It's about cultivating those inner qualities.
Yes.
Kindness, compassion, mindfulness, patience,
Yeah.
and letting them radiate outwards.
Exactly. You might think you need to be the loudest voice in the room to be heard,
Okay.
but sometimes the quietest presence commands the most respect.
It's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Precisely. And remember, this is a lifelong journey.
Right.
You're not going to master all 18 lessons overnight,
Of course not.
but by incorporating even a few of these principles into your daily life,
Okay.
you can begin to shift your perspective
Yeah.
and your interactions in a way that naturally fosters respect.
It's about making those small, conscious choices day after day that ultimately lead to big changes.
And who knows, maybe you'll even inspire others
Yeah.
to embark on their own journeys
Right.
of self-discovery and transformation.
It's amazing how these seemingly Buddhist concepts
Right.
are actually universally applicable.
They are.
Whether you're looking to improve your relationships, your career, or simply your own sense of self.
Yes,
These lessons offer valuable insights.
they do. And we encourage you to keep exploring, keep practicing, and keep growing.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time.